Behold her single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy song. Oh, listen, for the world profound is overflowing with the sound. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to the weary bands of traveller in some shady haunts among the Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird. Good morning and Tashidelek. So you must have guessed what the lesson will be all about today. Okay, so today I'm going to do in my first session reading poetry. How do we have to read poetry, and what are the things that we have to keep in mind, and what are the structures of a poetry. Okay, so this is the lesson that we are going to do in this session. Okay, yes. So now before I start the lesson, okay, let us once again recapitulate what we had done in the previous session. Okay, yes. Now for that I want you to look at the slides. I'm sure you must be remembering the lesson that we did the previous session. Okay, do you remember what was it? Okay, yes. So we were talking about the text structure, okay, yes, which is very important. You remember we have already done how to write different types of expository writing. So in my previous which was session, we learned about the different text structure. And whenever we come across any text, whenever you open one book, it's very important for you to know the different types of text structures as well as the different text features. These are very important. Now, as far as the text structures are concerned, the writers, they organize their idea. Okay? And as far as the text features are concerned, these are additional information that you get about the text. Okay? So these words, do you understand? Okay, first one is the text structure. Okay? And the second one is the text features. Okay, so whenever you come across any kind of reading material, these are the two things that you need to keep in mind. Did you understand? Okay, yes. So let us look at the slides. You see expository, or in other terms we can also say informational. Okay, yes, because if you look at this, all these are non-fiction. These are not stories. These are not books which are made up of cock and bull stories. Okay, now these are the non-fiction, and these are the materials that you need to visit again and again. For that, it's important for you to know the different text features. You got it? And we have already done the different text structures. So as a student, you should be familiar with these two words. Okay, yes, the first one is text structure and the second one is text feature. Okay, yes. So the first one is, which is the text features. I told you, if you look at my face, what are the features of my face? Okay, yes, eyes, nose, mouth, these are the different features on my face. Okay, likewise, when you look at one book, okay, for example, your textbook or reference or some newspaper, okay, yes, now you will come across the different text features, okay, and we have already done this. Now this is just a recapitulation. Okay, I'm sure you must be remembering when I narrate all these words. Okay, so what are the different text features we have? We have the glossary, okay, yes, we have the index, we also have the table of content, and then we have the titles, okay. And what do we have? We have the photos, we have the illustration, we have some text which are in bold, or some text in which are colored, or some text in italic. Okay, yes. We also have the heading, and below that heading we have the subheadings, and whenever there is some picture, we have the caption below that. Okay, I also remember requesting you, whenever you post, whenever you upload your picture in Instagram or which is Facebook, it's very important for you to write some caption so that the reader will understand what that picture is all about. Okay, so now having learned this caption, the importance of captions, okay, it's very important for you to write. You should never miss writing captions. Even in the school, sometimes as an activity, we used to have the caption contest where the teachers will give you one picture and below that you have to come up with different creative captions. Did you understand? Okay, now above these are all the different text features. Okay, yes. Now, you see the text features in nonfiction: table of contents, index, glossary, titles, subheadings, bold text and italic, photographs and illustration, caption, text box. Okay, now next time, whenever you come across some textbook, okay, non-fiction, literary references, I'm sure you will come across all these features. Okay, and not only which are coming across that feature, you should be also in a position to name all these things. Okay, this is a glossary. The glossary, the importance of glossary is this and this. This is the index. This is the content. This is the title. These are called text boxes. These are caption. So, okay, you should be familiar with all these things. Okay, yes. And now next, what about the text structure? We have already done this. Okay, now text structure, it's a bit different from the text feature I'll show you. Okay, now text features are where the writer arrange, okay, his or her idea in a proper, order according to his or her own idea. So, as far as the text structure is concerned, there are 4 types. You got it? What is the first one? Chronological, where the writers put all the events in proper order. I'm sure you must have come across so many passages which talks about chronology. And the next one is we have the cause and effect, where the writer talks about either cause or effect or both. Okay, cause and effect. Now this is another structure. You see, this is the thing where the writers, they arrange their idea, okay, in order to explain, in order to inform. Okay, yes. And what is the third one? The third one is compare and contrast. Okay, yes. You share the similarities and the differences. Okay, yes. I'm sure you have come across the this type of text structure. Okay, and next we have the problem solution. Did you understand? Now these are the different text structures. You have to keep this in mind. I want you to, some kind of a mentor text. Okay, you just try to look for one chronology passage and you just keep this as a mentor. Whenever you have got something to write, at least you will have some material to rely on. Okay, and also you just look for a very good example of cause and effect. You just cut that, or you just keep it, or you just store that in your own Google Drive like this. And next time, whenever you are asked to write a passage on cause and effect, at least you have got something to which you can rely. Okay, that will help you as a mentor text. So what you have to do, you just look for a good sample or example of all these the different text structure: chronology, cause and effect, compare, contrast, and problem solution. This will definitely help you. Did you understand? Okay, yes. Now these are the 2 things we did. And the previous session, I also gave you one kind of oral presentation. Do you remember? I shared this small passage. Okay, yes. So in fact, we are just killing 2 birds with one stone. Okay, I told you, if you practice this, first of all, you will be familiar with how to write a simple paragraph. Okay, yes. And the second one, obviously, you will get some practice in doing an oral presentation. Okay, yes. So oral presentation, you also need some kind of skills, and you develop these skills if you only try to practice. You got it? So you remember, that was the thing. I also gave you a demonstration. Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to tell you why I like online class. Well, first of all, I can revisit the lesson anytime I like. Secondly, there is no need for me to go to school. Last but not the least, my parents let me use gadgets during that time. Thus, I like online class. You got it? It's very simple, okay? Yes. So, apart from that, I also gave you the same structure, okay? That is the structure. You have to follow the same structure, but you can change the content, whichever content you are familiar with, whichever content it's very relevant to you. You just do this and you just keep practicing. It will not take much time. It will take say 1 minute. Okay, so every day you just try to, if you are very good at that, and then you just try to increase the number of the sentences, just like you do for the essay. First we write the paragraph, and if you're very familiar, if you're more confident, then you move on to the essay. So same thing can be applied in the oral presentation. You got it? For example, good morning everybody. Today I'm going to tell you why. You can also change the why. Okay, I told you, today I'm going to tell you the 3 facts of my education. Like this, there are so many topics. Okay, and then, well, first of all, these are the transition. Okay, another reason, instead of another, you can write secondly. Okay, yes. Last but not the least, and then you come up with your third supporting detail, and you just conclude, thus I. So this is the structure. Just like this is a book, this is a cat, this is a donkey, this is a table, like this. We learn all this structure. Once you know one structure, then automatically you will come up with thousand and thousand. It depends upon you. You got it? So the same thing can be applied to this small paragraph. Okay, that is the structure. If you try to maintain that same structure and you keep on changing the content, there will be a time when you will be totally familiar, okay, and then this will not just go out from your mind, okay, you'll be very familiar. So that is the thing. Now, up to now, I have done the recapitulation. These are the things that we did the previous session, okay. So I'm sure you must be, what should I say, remembering this. I'm sure some of you have already kept this in mind, okay, yes. So today, as I've already written on the whiteboard, what are we going to do? We are going to do the reading of the poetry. Okay, yes. So I want you to look at the slides. Okay, poetry. Okay, we have already covered some part of the poetry reading by Getenchula. You remember? Okay, the previous session when we are talking about the text structure. Okay, yes. Now we know that everybody has a story to tell. You have got your own story. I've got my own story. You have got so many things to tell. Okay, yes. Now these are the medium through which we tell. Okay, yes. It can be done through poetry if you're very good. You can also do it through prose, by story. Now, by now you must be familiar with all these, I can say, genres. Okay, yes, poetry, prose, drama. Okay, all these are different. Okay, they have their own unique which are features. Okay, yes. So today I'm going to do poetry. Okay, yes. Now you see poetry, there are different types of poetry. Okay, I'm sure you are familiar with. Okay, right from your childhood, your ears are used to hearing some kind of poem or nursery rhyme. Okay, when I say poem, I'm not just talking about the English language. We have got poems in Tibetan, we have got poems in Hindi. Okay, you must have listened to different kind of songs. Okay, if you look at this, if you listen to different songs in whichever language you like, okay, if you look at this, all these are, what should I say, poems. It's all a poetry form. I mean, in poetry form. Okay, okay, yes. And in school, we have got different types of poems. Okay, yes. So the teachers might have told you how to write different types of poem. Okay, yes. Now let us quickly look at the different types of poems. Okay, now these are just a sample. I'm not saying that these are the only poems that we have in this world. Okay, these are just, okay, yes. If you look at this, you will get some idea. You must be familiar with some of this. For example, we have got haiku, which is a different type of poem. We have got limerick. We have got couplet. We have got cinquain. We have got acrostic. And we have the free verse. You got it? So are you familiar? Now these are the different types of poems. It doesn't mean that the teacher has to teach all these type. Okay, now these are which if you are interested in writing poem, you can do all these things. You can write any. Okay, so the same what should I say poems will be available also in Tibetan. For example, acrostic. Okay, yes. So acrostic, it's what should I say a poem which is based on what should I say the first letter of that word. Okay, yes. For example, in Tibetan, I don't know whether it is same or not. We have got kashe. Okay, kawa, okay, kawa, kawa. Okay, now these are what should I say. We also find in Tibetan. Okay, oh yes. So free verse. Okay, what do you mean by free verse? I've already told you. Okay, what is a free verse? What is a closed verse? Okay, free verse is a verse or a poem in which the poet does not follow particular rhyming pattern. Okay, yes. So in Tibetan we have the free verse. Okay, Tundup Gal. You go. Okay, Lang Suyo Papchu. So this is a very good example of free verse. Okay, yes, where one does not have to any follow. In Tibetan also, we have got the close verse where we stick to the rhythm or the stick to the sounds. But free verse, you don't have to stick to that rhythm or all these things. So this is called free verse. In Tibetan we say Rang Myo Nyenga, and you are familiar with the Tundup Gyal. Okay, yes. Now these are some of the examples. Now, what is a poem? Okay, yes. What is a poem? Now, poem is a spontaneous overflow of emotion. Okay, so actually the good poets, okay, we need practice. A good poet, okay, he or she does not have to think, okay, now today I'm going to write a poem. Why? Because by definition it is very clear. What is a poem? Poem is a spontaneous or spontaneous means there's no need for you to wait. Okay, yes, it comes automatically. Okay, oh yes, so it's a spontaneous overflow of emotion. Emotion means feeling. Okay, different kind. If you are sad, all the words that come out from your mouth automatically. If you are very happy by looking at some scene, okay, just like which William Wordsworth, okay, who talks about the nature. Okay, yes. So, by looking at the nature, we develop some kind of a feeling, and then the poet they start writing. So the feeling is what you recorded. That feeling will never come again. So it's very important for us to record that feeling so that if it is a good feeling, whenever you feel sad, whenever you are undergoing some kind of crisis, you can revisit that poem and then you get the same happy feeling. Okay, that is the power. So there are so many things I can talk about the poetry. Okay, so for the time being, what is a poem? Poem is a spontaneous overflow of emotion. So people like us, okay, we need to spend some time. Okay, even if you've got one feeling, what is the right word I have to write here? We need some kind of a practice. Okay, yes. So poem, after all, it's a spontaneous overflow of emotion. If you look at the poem, there are so many feelings. Okay, and by reading the poem, you should try to see what are the feeling. What is the feeling of that poet during that time? Is it a happy feeling, sad feeling, interesting, or some irony is there? So many things. You got it? Okay, so that is a poem. Now the question is why? Why are we learning poem? Okay, why is it important for us to learn poem? Okay, we have got story. Okay, but why? So we learn poem. Okay, it's important for us to learn poem because we can appreciate and understand the world around us. Okay, yes. So we develop some kind of aesthetic sense. You value, you appreciate. Okay, so appreciate and understand the world around us. Okay, yes. People who are writing poetry, they may be describing some beauty. Okay, so it's important for the readers to understand and appreciate. So that's why we learn poetry. Okay, yes. There are different reasons why we learn, okay, poetry. Now, which are according to time, according to my own knowledge, okay, these are few and it may be very limited. If you are interested, you can just Google and you will have zillions of resources. Okay, yes. And the second one, the poetry teaches us economy of words. Okay, economy of words means by using a very simple, okay, there's no need for you to write full sentence. Just by using some phrases, a verse, you can relay the same message. So that's why in poem, it teaches us the economy of words. We use less words. Okay, there's no need for you to write the full sentence. So if you look through all the poems, you will know that all these poems are not complete. Okay, yes. So the poem teaches us the skill by which we say the same thing, but by using a very limited words. Okay, so that's why we learn poem. Okay, yes. So that is the thing. Okay. For example, okay, if one person is very important for you, if he or she has, what should I say, done so many good things, and you are fully indebted, if you are fully grateful that person, instead of writing so many things, okay, if you write poem, now in poem we learn the economy of word, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so what do? He is my oxygen. You just count the number of words. Okay, he is my oxygen. He is my. There are four words. If you write in sentence, it will become long. Okay, so just by writing all these things, that short one, you get the same meaning. Okay, he is my oxygen means, which is oxygen. We all know without oxygen we cannot survive. So you are comparing. So through this, you send the same message. Okay, by using a very limited word. So that is the skill that we learn by learning poetry. Did you understand? Okay, yes. And the third one, which is we have already done. Okay, this session, you know. Okay, show and tell. Do you see the difference? I told you. Okay, whenever you write a piece of composition, try your best to show. Don't try to tell. Okay, if you tell, there isn't anything the reader can understand. Whatever you are telling, how can you say that the reader can also understand? For example, if you are talking about a very beautiful place, it's a very beautiful place. Now, how can you say the reader may not agree whether it is your beautiful, your which is the meaning of beauty is different from the other's point of beauty. Okay, so don't tell, you just show. Okay, how what should I say? You just describe the scene. Okay, yes, the rivers. Okay, different colors, the trees in different colors, yellow, green. Okay, there are some rivulets coming. There are some birds in different colors, just chirping and flying here and there, making lots and now. If you try to do this, what are you doing? You are not telling. You are just showing. Now you just let the decision on the reader. Now reader will understand. Okay, it's a beautiful. No, it is not a beautiful. So that is the thing. So through poetry, it gives us skill to be better in showing rather than telling. Why? Because in the poetry we choose a very good words. Okay, we use different kind of figure of speech. Now, by now you should be familiar with the word figure of speech. Okay, yes, figure of speech is one tool. Okay, one part of language which has got a different. For example, you are my oxygen. So the literal meaning. Okay, oxygen. What is? It's related to the air. Okay, so there is a figurative meaning. Okay, yes, that is a figure of speech. So you are my oxygen. So likewise, we get to see all these figure of language, figure of speech. Okay, all these literary terms, all these poetic devices, all these descriptive words only in the poem. You got it? So that's why we are learning. Okay, yes. And the third, the last one, which is very much related to you. Okay, if you do not agree all these things, but the last one you should agree. Why? Because we learn English, and in the textbook we have got both prose and poetry. Okay, whether you like it or you don't like it, there's no option. You have to. You got it? So you have got one poetry, which is, there are some poems in your textbook, and you have to do all the exercises. You have to understand all these things. Now that's why. Okay, yes. Because of this, we should learn poetry. We should know how to write, how to read a poetry so that we can understand. Is that clear? Now we talk about why we learn poetry. Okay, now let us try to see how do we have to read a poem. Okay, whenever you come across a poem, now for example the trees, I'm sure you all are familiar with this poem, very beautiful, simple, very didactic. Okay, yes, it has got a very strong message. Okay, so what are the things that you have to do whenever you come across a poem? Okay, yes, what you have to do, you have to at least read 3 times. How many times? 3 times. I'm not saying that 3 is the last one. No, okay, it depends upon you. So basically, we read the poem 3 times. Nobody is as good to understand the poem just by reading once. Okay, no matter how good you are, at least you have to read 3 times, thrice. Okay, yes. So in the first reading, what do? You just read, you just look at the title, there may be some illustration. Okay, so it's very easy. Okay, and then you just read, and after reading it for the first time, you will get some bird's eye vision. You will get some overview of the poem. Oh, this poem is about this. That is more than enough. There's no need for you to go in detail. So by first reading, you will get some idea. Okay, yes. And in the second reading, now you got some idea what this poem is about. Okay, yes. And in the second reading, now poem has got different, I told you, it is showing and it has got different figure of speech. Now this time, while reading, you just try to underline, okay, annote, we call it annote, okay, annotation, okay. You just try to take note, or you just try to underline all the figurative languages. And by now, you are familiar with what you mean by figurative language. Okay, yes. So what are the different figurative language you come across? What are the different literary devices? What are the different poetic devices? You just try, okay? And not only that, now poem also, I told you, it's filled with emotion, okay, feeling. Now what kind of words depicts a happiness? If you come across all the words which are related to happiness, joy, and then which is, you will know that this is a poem which talks about the happiness. If you come across some words, okay, yes, which are related to sad thing, you will know that this poem is a which is a sad one. Okay, so that is the thing that you do in the second reading. Now, what about the third one? Okay, third reading, okay, now you just try to get some idea. Okay, what is the poet trying to convey? Okay, you just try to interpret. Okay, so that is interpretation. It's a very important skill whenever we have got some kind of reading comprehension. Even in the examination, you are given a passage and you are given so many questions. And what are they trying to check? They are trying to check your own interpretation. Okay, oh yes. So in the third reading, you just try to get the meaning and you just try to make your own interpretation. Okay, so he is trying to do like this. Did you understand? Okay, yes. So we will read this poem in detail in my next session when we talk about other things. Okay, the different types of which is the structures. Okay, yes. So the first reading, second reading, third reading. Is that clear? Okay, yes. Now let us also talk about the structure of a poem. So Gethenchula has already differentiated the different structure of a poem or prose and drama. Okay, yes. Now these are the things that you have to keep in mind. Whenever we have got a poem, okay, we have got line. Okay, yes. So a group of line, we can call it stanza. Okay, yes. In the poem, we call it stanza. So in prose, we call it paragraph like this. So in poem, we have got stanza, and some of the stanzas are made of 2. You have already seen the previous poem. Okay, yes, 2 lines make 1 stanza. Sometimes we have got 3 lines which make 1 stanza. Sometimes we have got 4 lines which make 1 stanza. So if you look at the poem on the right side, how many lines are there? You will find there are 4 lines. So this is 1 stanza. You got it? So in the poem is, that is the structure. The poem is written in structure, stanzas. And then we have the rhythm, okay, which I'll be doing in my next session. Okay, rhythm is the beat. Okay, you have already got some idea. And then we have got the rhyming. Okay, yes, Gethenchula has already discussed about the rhythm and the rhyme in detail, what type of rhyming we have, the internal rhyme, okay, other things. Now we have got the close verse and the free verse. Okay, in order to understand what do you mean by close words, it's important for you to understand first what is free verse. So free verse, I told you, free verse is a poetry, okay, a form of poetry where the poet does not follow particular rhyming pattern. we have got some pattern. Okay, so this kind of poem is called free verse, and the opposite of free verse is closed verse. So closed verse means the poets, he or she sticks to the particular rhyming pattern, for example, A, B, B, or A, B, C. So if the poem follows particular pattern, and then we call it close. Okay, close. There's no freedom like this. So free verse, by looking at the word, it's clear for you. Okay, free verse. Okay, yes. Now lines of the poem, I told you there are different types of which is stanzas. Okay, some stanzas there are only 2 lines. Okay, yes, we call it couplet, couple. Okay, yes, 3 line tercet, 4 lines quadrant. Okay, 5 lines cinquain. I told you, I've given you an example of cinquain. Okay, in the previous which was slides. Okay, cinquain, and we have got the sonnet, which has got 14 lines. Okay, you must be familiar with some of the sonnet of which they say that William Shakespeare. Okay, he used to write sonnets. Okay, yes. Now, when we learn, when we read poem, we have to also take care of all these things. Whenever you are given one poetry comprehension in the examination in your textbook, okay, now these are the things that you have to keep in mind. First, the style. If you come across one poem, you know you have to do 3. You have to do reading thrice. Okay, and during that time, you just try to see the style. What is the style of this poem? Now, when I say style, what do I mean when it comes to poem? Okay, style means the choice of word. Okay, yes. What are the words, which they say, what are the words chosen by the poet? And what about the sentences? What type of sentences are used by the poet? Okay, and what are the different literary devices? So when I say style, I'm talking in terms of the choice of words. What are the words? Good words, strong words. Okay, yes. And then sentence structure. What type of sentence? Okay, is it simple or convenient for the small children, or if the sentence structure is very complex? We have already done this. Okay, yes. So the style, and the second one is tone. Okay, so when I say tone, what do I mean? I mean the poet's or the writer's attitude. You got it? Okay, yes. So what is the attitude of the poet towards the particular subject? For example, the tree. What is that? Okay, and what is the poet's, okay, the attitude towards the reader? So that decides the tone. Okay, sometimes the poem, it's very aggressive. Sometimes the poet is very, which is a melancholy, very sad. Sometimes the poet, which the poem used to be lots and lots of life and energy. Okay, now these are the tone. Okay, last but not the least, whenever we have got poems, we have, of course, the literary devices. There are different types of literary devices. We will just learn all these things in the next session. Okay, so literary devices. So you will also look at what are the literary devices used by the, which we say, the poet. Okay, so in this session, which we say, what we have learned about the reading of poetry. I told you, whenever you come across a poem, you just try to, which we say, read the poem 3 times. Okay, not just one. Now, if you are interested, if you still did not understand anything from this poem, there is no, which they say, problem in reading more than 3. Okay, yes. So by reading first, you will not get some idea. Okay, yes. Now, if you read again and again, then you will get some idea. For example, this one. Okay, Trees by Joyce C. Kilmer. Okay, I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree. Now, if you read like this, by some reading, you will get some idea how to read. Oh, narrator has used this. Now, if I am supposed to read this poem, okay, yes. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear nests of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain, Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. You see? So if you keep on reading for twice or thrice like this, you will get some pattern. Okay, oh, now this, the poet has purposely used this kind of, which is a beat. Okay, yes. So if you read the poem for the first time, you will not get some idea. Okay, now if you keep on reading, then you will get some idea. Okay, the poet has written this in particular beat. Now, whenever we come across a poem, we will come across such kind of beat. Poem is somewhat like a song. Okay, in song we have got different kind of beat, and in the poem also we have got different types of beats. Okay, now when will you identify, when will you know this beat? Okay, by giving this poem a few reading. Not just by first reading you will get this idea. You're, okay, yes, if you keep on reading this, you will get some idea, and then you will really appreciate the poem. Okay, yes. 3. First reading, you just try to get some idea by looking at the title and all this thing, illustration. And the second reading, you just try to see the different figurative languages, the different literary devices, the different words related to emotion. Okay. And in the third one, now you will get some idea what this poem is about, what the poet is trying to tell, what kind of story, what kind of feeling. Okay, and then you just give your own interpretation. Did you understand? Yes. So with this, I have come to the end of my first session, and I've got one more session in which I'll be discussing about the literary devices. And I told you, literary devices are very important. These are the integral part of a poem. Whenever we have got a poem, the writers, the poets, they use different kind of literary devices. So I see you in my next session. Thank you.